of the Q&A answers, and we're going to jump immediately in the interest of saving some time. So, Chandler TV 100 asks, do you have an overall plan for your channel? I saw a video you posted a few months ago where you were showing your channel's numbers and how it was past its prime, and you seemed really depressed and pessimistic about it, whereas now you seem fairly optimistic and happy about your channel's state. So I was wondering if you were thinking about your channel's future or not. I do, but again, as I've said, I kind of play it by ear a little bit. I've had a lot of questions asking me where do I see the channel in X number of years or after X number of subscribers and blah, blah, blah. And the answer is I just intend to, I guess, keep doing the same thing I'm doing right now. Gradually increasing my production value along with it, as in, you know, higher resolution videos, a better recording setup, better microphones, you know, just continuously upgrading as I always have to fit with the times. I think my big problem really is that I lack a lot of technical skill. Over the years, the standard of quality when it comes to YouTube videos has skyrocketed. Back when I started doing it, the norm was like 480p videos, slightly blurry with, you know, just some cheap $5 mic from your local bargain bin. And, you know, in a 4:3 aspect ratio, that was what everybody recorded with. It was completely unedited gameplay that was someone hit record with fraps with and bodged together in Windows Movie Maker. That was the standard back when I got started. Nowadays, everybody's using crazy Adobe After Effects shit and 3D graphics and cool transitions and animation and all of this shit that I do not know how to do, and I never learned how to do. Because I didn't feel like I ever needed to, and now I feel like a bit of a dinosaur who's been left behind in the tar, because I don't know how to do any of this shit, and it seems like virtually everybody else on YouTube who's vaguely popular does know how to do this stuff. I'm a firm believer in the fact that production value alone will not get you a huge audience. You've got to actually provide something compelling to watch in between all the flashy graphics, but at the same time, a lot of people will turn off these days if you don't have that level of production value, which they've become accustomed to through watching everybody else's stuff. So I do feel like there's this need for me to actually sit down and maybe learn some of these things that I need to learn in order to make my videos look better. If there's one big plan I suppose I do have going forward, it is maybe to do something about that. I mean, look at me right now. I'm sitting here talking over a camera pointed at Claudius, doing absolutely nothing. This is like quite minimum effort. There won't be a lot of editing done on this. This is the kind of content you expect from me. If I was some other YouTuber, I probably would have had flashing up screenshots of all of your comments as I'm answering the question. I probably would have had lots of B-reel footage running in the background and stuff like that, but I don't have any of that kind of thing because, one, I don't have all the time in the world to make this, and two, I don't have the ability to make fancy graphics where things pop up on the screen and stuff like that, you know? I'm using a really outdated version of Sony Vegas that I got off a film student at university many, many years ago. And I barely know how to use it even now, frankly, so... yeah, I guess maybe that needs to change at some point, right? So really, that is kind of my plan. Keep doing what I'm doing. Primarily, I've always been interested in trying to tell stories of this kind or another. There's two things I really want to do with this channel, and that is A, tell stories, and B, share games. You know, and I basically want to continue doing that. I have obviously occasionally done sort of more critical videos about things like the Elder Scrolls, which a lot of you are probably here because of those videos, admittedly, and you know they are very clickbaity and they do get a lot of views. There are a dime a dozen of them in it. You probably go into your like recommendations tab right now and you'll see like 6 different videos, which is about 3 hours long each, with some dude monologuing about what he thinks about the Elder Scrolls games. Like that shit is just, everybody does that nowadays and it gets loads of views. But I've never really been interested in critiquing. I've always been more interested in creating, if you know what I mean. I would rather write a story than become a book reviewer. You know what I mean? I'd rather direct a movie than become a film critic. That's always just been the way I've done things. That's just the way my brain works. I don't enjoy criticizing shit. I prefer to make my own. That'll probably always be that way, honestly. So, anyway, I don't know. What were we even talking about? I've gone so far off on the tangent right now. Yeah, I mean, since we hit that low point a while ago that you mentioned in the comment there, Chandler, things have obviously picked up. My Patreon has picked up. View counts picked up. Things like launching a new Oblivion series have definitely helped with that. Twitch has been going very well. Things are just generally looking up a lot more than they were, which is why I'm a lot more optimistic about it these days, in spite of all of Google's meddling and messing around. Things do seem to be going quite well, which is good, obviously. So, but for now, yeah, I don't really have that many plans beyond... My plans for this channel really go beyond which Let's Play I'm going to do next. That's about as far ahead as I honestly plan, really. For better or worse. So, Will White asks, are you going to be recording more of your... We've already discussed this. Moving on. He was asking about Morrowind, basically. Lewis Horsewell asks, would you ever do another Total War or Paradox Grand Strategy game Let's Play? Well, I already asked the Paradox bit. As for Total War, maybe. It'll probably be an old-ass Total War game that no one's interested in watching, though. I'll warn you right now. It'd probably be a Rome Total War playthrough. Or maybe a modded Rome Total War playthrough or something like that. I gotta be honest, if you're expecting me to sit down and play the latest brand new Total War game, oh boy, are you going to be disappointed, because I don't really like the brand newest Total War games very much, to be honest with you, with the exceptions of, I suppose I did enjoy the Warhammer ones quite a bit, and the New Thrones of Britannia was okay, I guess. It was all right. Wasn't anything to write home about, though. At the end of the day, I have to be honest. I've kind of fallen out of love with Total War these days. It's sad. It's that sad thing to have to admit, but once upon a time, it was probably my favorite series of games ever. But nowadays, it's like I feel like Creative Assembly have lost the plot a bit, unfortunately. So, yeah. P.S. I think some of your best Let's Plays have been of those kind of games, like your Hearts of Iron Kaiserreich, Total War Rome Invasion Barbarorum LPs. I especially liked when you talked about tidbits of history that you know about. Yeah, I mean, you know, Rome Total War in particular is a fond one for me because I was a Rome Total War modder back in the day. I worked on a couple of big mod projects. I did a few little ones of my own. And I got very heavily invested into the history of that period as well. I read a lot of history books about ancient Rome and the fall of Rome and stuff like that. Most of that shit I've forgotten now, to be honest with you, because it was so long ago. But I really got into it and researched it a lot, and I as I said, I helped make mods for it. So Rome Total War always has a special place in my heart for that reason. And one day I will go back to it, and it'll either be the vanilla game or it'll be with mods, or because fuck me, there's so many mods to choose from with Rome Total War. I can't think of a game that exists that has more total conversion mods made for it than Rome has. It's nuts. People really got their money's worth out of that game. Like, my goodness. So Zeno asks, will you be streaming more Black and White perchance? Well, we finished Black and White 1 more or less, except for the finally last glitchy bit at the end where the game crashed on me and I couldn't finish it, but we did more. We played pretty much the entire main campaign. I don't have any immediate plans to play more Black and White. The game really tried my patience towards the end, to be completely honest with you. I am not looking forward to go back and playing any more at the moment. That will probably change eventually. But right now, no immediate plans, no. Lame Boy, plus a bunch of Japanese symbols in their name, asks, do you think Elder Scrolls 6 could possibly have multiplayer if Fallout 76 turns out successful? I think that would be a very high possibility, yes. I think if Fallout 76 turns out to be mega successful, I would not be at all surprised if Bethesda decided to put a multiplayer element into the Elder Scrolls 6. Would not surprise me even a bit. No, it wouldn't. Tobias Winters asks, could we at some point see a genealogy of the line of House Crumpington, from the earliest days of the dynasty, in the era of the Viking invasions, to wastelands of the 23rd century Mojave. That sounds like it would be a lot of work, to be honest. Maybe a little more work than I'm willing to commit to. Plus, you know, I'm just saying some of those Crumpingtons, like a certain Crumpington bounty hunter from the 23rd century. He might not actually be a Crumpington, but you know, that one's still up in the air, isn't it? A bit, really. You know, all that bullet brain damage. Who knows who or what he was before that? You know, Benny shot him in the face that fateful evening outside of Good Springs. You know, so what? Who's next? I need to scroll up the thing again. No, yeah, I do, because I can't actually see the name of the person asking the question, even though I can see the question. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, geez, this is a lot of questions all at once. Okay, Valon has asked me about 10,000 questions. The first of which is, now you've shown. Sorry, I can't even read. I'm struggling to read English. It must be the heat exhaustion, and also the lack of a drink. I really should have got a glass of water before I started this. Never mind. Now you've shown that you can have fun with other games like Halo and still get the subs and views in. Well, you know, I got some views in and maybe 1 or 2 subs. Literally, probably 1 or 2 subs. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's still nowhere near as popular as like Oblivion, for example. Do you have any other games aside from Halo 2, of course, that you want to play for the channel? Yeah, there's like 1 or 2, I guess, that I was thinking about. I mean, Call of Duty 4 might be one of them, for example, who you talked about earlier. That's a game I've not played in ages, but has a really good single-player campaign. Yeah, there's plenty of games. I don't really want to spoil it, though, to be honest with you. I hope that's okay, but I don't really want to spoil games. Yeah, I don't want to. The thing is, I don't want to create false expectations by naming off a bunch of things that I may never ever get around to playing. So, you know, I don't want to get people's hopes up by name dropping a bunch of stuff that I may never get around to. So, but yeah, there are the games that I've, you know, thought about doing. So, in addition, question number 2. What about Fallout 4? Fallout 4 was the kicker that made you drop that LP. Well, we already pretty much answered that quite exhaustively, actually. So, there you go. See the earlier video. I think it was video 1 that I covered that in. Question 3. How many chests and boxes do you think we've yelled at you about over all the LPs? Way too many. That's how many. Out of Idris, Zog, Claudius, Fathers, or Arthur, which was/is your favorite character to roleplay when making LP videos? Ugh. I don't think I have a favorite. I really don't. I really don't think I have a favorite. They're just different. I don't think there's one that I particularly enjoy above the others. It's always a very different experience with each one. I suppose if I'm forced to choose a favorite, it might honestly be Arthur, just because he's so different from the other ones. You know, the whole sneaking around, but completely trying to completely avoid combat where possible, doing the heists and things with the castle vaults and stuff like that, like Bruma with the crazy disguise and all that sort of nonsense. That's not something I've done before on one of my Bethesda LPs, and I really enjoyed it. Doing those vault heists and things is, yeah, really fun. So I think maybe if I was forced to choose one, I would actually probably say maybe Arthur, actually, just because he's so damn different. You know, all of the other ones, yeah, sure, like Idris is a wizard, and Fathis is kind of an assassin, and Zog was a barbarian, and Claudius is a sword and board warrior. But they all effectively do the same thing. They go around killing bandits and going into tombs and bashing zombies in the face with, whether it's magic or a sword or a hammer or you know, or whatever, or a dagger, repeatedly stabbing them to death with it. they all play fairly similarly in that regard. You know, they go in there, they kill stuff, they loot, and there you go. They continue doing what they're doing. Whereas Arthur, he sneaks in occasionally, tries not to touch or kill anyone that he doesn't have to, and tries to sneak out completely undetected where possible. And he spends more of his time actually in towns than he does out of towns, which the others do not. The others spend way more time out in the wilderness exploring and in dungeons and things, whereas Arthur spends very little time out in the wilderness exploring and doing dungeons and things. So, and I like that. I like how different it is to play. So, anyway, moving on. Question number, I don't know at this point. Do you have any aspirations for PC upgrades, new hardware for your rig, or do you think you might go for a secondary setup like a dedicated rendering laptop PC to edit and render videos on, while you use your main one for gaming things? I think I'm beyond the point where I can really upgrade this PC I've got at the moment much further. I've had it for a long time now. I've upgraded the graphics card a few times over the years. I've upgraded the RAM. But at this point, I think eventually it's going to be a case of not more upgrades, but I'm going to have to just buy a brand new PC, because it'll be new motherboard, new GPU, new CPU, new everything. Effectively, it's going to be at that point. So it'll probably be a brand new PC. And as for what will happen to this one, it might end up getting used, like that as a second PC, either for capture card streaming-y type stuff, or for rendering videos, that kind of thing. Perhaps, I don't really know. I may sell it honestly or sell the parts in order to get money for getting a new PC. The new PC obviously will have to be Windows 10. This one is Windows 7. I prefer Windows 7, but eventually I will have to get Windows 10 because eventually I won't be able to play the newest games, because they'll all be DirectX 12 and shit, which Windows 7 can't do. And obviously, Microsoft will do what Microsoft does, which is pull support from Windows 7 and gradually turn shit in it off remotely so that it stops working properly. They did the same thing with XP. So eventually I will have to wave bye-bye to Windows 7, get a new PC with Windows 10 on it, and yeah. I do have a laptop with Windows 10 on it, so I have used Windows 10 before, so it's alright, but I do prefer 7. Unfortunately, my laptop's not really built for any kind of serious work, so I don't really use it for that. I just use it for mobile gaming for the most part, honestly. And finally, the most important question, Balon says, when can we expect a Daggerfall series? When I get $1,000 on Patreon a month. For an entire month. If it stays at $1,000, then I will do a Daggerfall series. I've said this before. That's the only way you're going to get me to do a Daggerfall series. Because I don't like that game very much. And the only way you're going to get me to do it is by throwing money at me. I'm sorry. It's almost like blackmail. I don't care. It will be the only way you ever get me to play Daggerfall. Through to completion. Yeah. You're going to have to show me the money if you want to see that, I'm afraid, because otherwise it ain't happening. And to be honest with you, I almost hope it doesn't happen anytime soon, because I would not be looking forward to it. I know the hipsterish thing these days is to be like, oh yeah, Daggerfall's actually secretly the best Elder Scrolls game. Morrowind's not even that good. But I think that's complete bollocks. I hate Daggerfall. I really don't like it at all. Not for lack of trying to like it, by the way. I've put a lot of hours into Daggerfall over the years. I've never clicked with it, though. It's never really been my thing. I liked Arena, though. Arena was pretty great. I enjoyed Arena. But Daggerfall, nope. No thanks. So, yeah. So, finally moving on from Valon's questions, Mr. Pixels asks, do you like owls? I guess owls are okay. They're alright, aren't they? I suppose. I feel a certain kinship for funny-looking creatures that generally tend to be slightly nocturnal. Because, that would probably describe myself on some level, I suppose. Being a full-time YouTuber and Twitch streamer has a way of screwing up your sleep schedule on a regular basis, unfortunately. Yeah, owls are alright, I suppose. The The Ginger one asks, how do you come up with character backstories? I guess the short answer is I come up with a character that I would like to mechanically play, and then I come up with some sort of backstory that fits it. For example, I will go in and I will be like, right, I want to play a thief character that avoids combat lots. That's the kind of playthrough I want to do. Now let's come up with a backstory that fits that general idea. That's generally how I tend to do it. I come up with the mechanic concept of how I want to actually play the playthrough. I'll be like, how do I want to play it? Like, do I want to be, for example, a thief that doesn't do combat? And what quest lines do I want to do? So I want to do X, Y, and Z quest lines, and I want to play this type of character gameplay-wise. And based on that, I come up with a character background that will reasonably allow me to play in that playstyle and do the quest lines I want to do. So that's all there is to it, really, at the end of the day. There's no magic shit involved. There's no expert creativity. I literally set myself the constraints of, I want to play this type of character, and I want to do these quest lines. Therefore, I shall make some sort of narrative that fits what I want to do with the game. And that's it, really. What the light's gone out. Does that mean it's going to start getting light soon? I guess it might. Right, anyway. It was a bit abrupt. Tan316. AC or DC? Or metric system overall? I'm a big proponent of the metric system. I like the metric system. I think it's easy to get my head around. It's what I was brought up on at the end of the day, and as a result, I am unfairly biased towards the metric system. Water freezes at 0 degrees, and it boils at 100 degrees. You have meters, which consist of 100 centimeters. You have millimeters, and there's 10 of them in a centimeter. It's base 10. The system. It's brilliant. I love it. It's so easy to use. Imperial is a clusterfuck, quite frankly, by comparison. Oh yeah, the sun is coming up. We're gonna get a nice little sunrise here in the video. That's nice. Anyway, but yeah, no, sorry, Imperial's an absolute clusterfuck. And metric for the win. As far as I'm concerned, if you were brought up on Imperial, obviously that's what you're used to and what you're familiar with. So, you probably think metric's a load of horseshit. But yeah, that's just what I think. So, as for AC or DC, why not both? Because then you get an amazing Australian rock band out of the deal. Jakuruto asks, have you considered live streaming D&D with some good dudes like Variax and such? I understand that would be a lot of work, but I think that would be cool. Yeah. Not so much considered live streaming it, more considered doing a video series of it that's a bit, that's edited and a bit more watchable than a big, lengthy 6-hour stream VOD. But as a concept, playing D&D with other YouTubers, friends of mine, that's definitely something I've considered. That's definitely something I'm low-key back burner planning, actually, for at some point doing. So yeah, is the answer. Although probably not streaming it. Probably more as a video thing. So, but I don't know. Change my mind, if you like, on that one. Convince me that streaming it would be better. Because personally, I think that videos would be better for that. But I don't know. I need to scroll up again. Okay. William Garrison asks, which Elder Scrolls character is your favorite? Crassius Curio. Duh. James Brewer asks, long-time viewers since Idris Chapter 1. If you could have a conversation with any person in history, wherein neither of you could tell a lie, who would it be and what would you talk about? I would talk to... Fuck, I don't know. I would talk to... I don't really know, to be honest. I really don't have a clue. Yeah, honestly, I don't. Who would I talk to out of all of history? Who would I want to talk to? I honestly don't know. I don't have a clue. It's not. So I'm drawing a blank here. You probably expect me to say something like everyone would, like, oh, I'd talk to Adolf Hitler, or I'd talk to Stalin, or something like that, or someone horrible like that. But no, actually, I don't think I would want to chat to them, or Julius Caesar, or Napoleon, or no, not really. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That's one I'd have to really sit and think about. If you know what, if anything, I'd love to go talk to my granddad. He died before I was born, so he was in World War II. He was in the Far East, and he didn't talk very much about it even when he was alive, apparently. And I never met the guy. Obviously, like I said, he died before I was born. So honestly, he technically counts as a person from history, right? I'd go back and talk to my granddad. My grandfather on my dad's side, at least. Yeah, I'd go talk to him. Or my great-grandfather, who was in the First World War with the cavalry. I'd love to talk to him and figure out what made him tick and stuff. And ask him about his experiences and things like that. That would be an incredible experience to talk to an actual relative, as opposed to some crazy dictator that I have nothing to do with. So yeah, I guess maybe that's a bit of a boring answer, but yeah, technically those are people from history, and yeah, those are the guys I'd want to talk to, really, actually. So yeah, there you go. And for the politics side of things, asked James Brewer, would you rather Ulfric Stormcloak, Cicero, Isran, or Neloth become Prime Minister for the next 8 years? Well, any of them would be better than the current lot, wouldn't they? Fucking hell. Neloth. I say Neloth. Because it would be like not having a Prime Minister at all, because he just wouldn't give a shit. He'd just lock himself up at the top of Big Ben and get everyone else not to bother him. And it would be just complete anarchy, and that would be hilarious, I suppose. Actually, it'd be horrifying, but whatever. Those are all terrible options anyway. Oswald asks, will you bring Claudius out one? Yeah. Beyond Scar and Bruma. Yeah. We've already discussed it. Garrett the Wastelander, would you ever consider playing the classic Thief series on the channel? I streamed most of... Was it most of? I don't know, actually. I think at least half of the original Thief, the Dark Project, on Twitch. As for would I do it as videos? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I would. I'd like to play through Thief 2, the Metal Age again at some point. That was the first Thief game I actually played, Thief 2. So yeah, I wouldn't mind playing through that as a video series one day. Oh god. Oh boy. All right. Okay. So someone with a Cyrillic username, and my grasp of the Cyrillic alphabet is so poor that I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I think the first letter is a D, followed by, I don't know exactly, followed by an O, followed by an I with an accent over it. It's too short for Dimitri, so at least I think it is. But whatever your name is, I apologize for not being able to pronounce it. I know what some of the Cyrillic alphabet is. I don't know what all of it is, though. But anyway, this person asks, out of all your characters from a narrative and character development perspective, who is your favorite? You're personally partial to... He's personally partial to Idris. He really liked the eccentric wizard. I suppose Claudius, because he... Out of all of them, I mean, he has an unfair advantage to Claudius because his story actually fucking finished. But he definitely, out of all of them, changed a hell of a lot. Claudius was, I'm not ashamed to say, a bit of a dickhead at the start of playthrough. Claudius, on day one of Let's Play Skyrim, was not a nice guy. He was kind of a dick. He was a bigoted piece of shit. He really was. He was not very likable at all, and that was by design. And by the end of the LP, he'd managed to overcome his prejudices and overcome his own fucking inadequacies and everything, and become a hero, basically. And yeah, he changed a lot. He changed a hell of a lot from day one to day whatever we finished on. So I guess he wins the medallion for most character development out of all the stuff I've done. But obviously, like I said, he has an unfair advantage because his story is actually finished, unlike everyone else's. So you know. Jed asks, if you didn't have your YouTube channel, would you still play Bethesda games as much as you do? Do you still like Bethesda as a company? Well, company's not like a person. You can't like them or dislike them. I just, you know, it's a question of, do I like their products? Do I like their business practices? As far as their business practices go, well, they could be worse, couldn't they, I suppose? But that's not much. That's damning them with faint praise a bit, isn't it? What else? What was it? What's the other part of your question? Would I still play Bethesda games as much as I do? It's so difficult to say, man. Maybe I would. Maybe I also wouldn't. If it weren't for the fact that I've grown popular on YouTube as someone who does playthroughs of Bethesda games, I don't know if I would still be playing them very much. Like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls might have gotten left behind in the same way that Total War's gotten a bit left behind for me, the same way that Halo got really, really left behind for me after I moved on from having an Xbox. I just never touched Halo again for over a decade. I do wonder if perhaps the same would have been the case for Bethesda's games. I would have just sort of lost interest and moved on to something else. It's almost impossible to say, though, without wildly speculating. So, Charlie Holloway asks, what is the SorcererDave canon Elder Scrolls playthrough are? Like, what are all your playthroughs in the same universe, or are they different universes? Oh, so any more crumping? Any more crumping? Yes. Are they all a part of like a canon? Are they all part of like a Marvel Cinematic Universe? I have not put nearly enough thought into something like that, honestly. I like dropping little references occasionally to other characters, sometimes from other Let's Players as well, not even just from my own stuff. But I don't overthink it in the sense that, oh, they're all part of this established canon and everything must match up and be exact and shit like that, because, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, no. I suppose technically they could all exist in the same canon, couldn't they? You know, Fathis, Idris, Arthur, Claudius could all conceivably exist within the same universe, right? I don't think there's anything between them that overlaps in a way that would cause problems. What would cause problems is the fact that they do overlap with some of the other characters I've referenced. For example, Squeeper has one or two nods in some of the Oblivion Let's Plays I've done. Likewise, so does Variax, and their stuff does conflict with stuff that I've done in my things, so that side of it obviously wouldn't work. I don't know, dude, I don't know. You're making my brain hurt. I don't like my brain hurting. I'm going to move on. Right, I need to scroll up again. Actually, no, I'm going to call the video here. I think we're at 33 minutes again, so... And I desperately need to go get a glass of water, and I think I'm going to order some food, because I don't have time to cook right now. I've spent so long doing this, it's now gotten to like 8:30, and in the evening, I should say, and I need to order some food, because I don't have time to cook anything now. Well, I would have time to cook stuff, but I wouldn't have time to cook stuff and get this evening's videos done at the same time. So yeah, I'm going to go order some pizza or something, and I'll be back later, folks, for the fourth video. I think this was the third one, right? So yeah, the fourth Q&A video. I don't think we're even... I think we're like a quarter of the way through the questions that are currently there. So we've got a way to go, folks. Oh dear lord, have we got a way to go. So yes, I'll see you in the next video. Toodaloo.